Good morning, Ailsford class. Hope you're all okay. So welcome to your Tuesday. So you're going to do some computing this morning, as always. First things first, though, we need to do something about Times Table Rockstars. I'm filming this on Monday evening, probably while you're having your dinner. And this is the score as of nearly 4:45 on Monday afternoon. And Boxer Class have got a huge lead on us at the minute. Okay, but it is not impossible. We can catch this up. So first things first, I want everyone to spend a good 20-25 minutes on Times Table Rockstars. Let's get some points. Let's break a few records of our own. Let's see if we can try and catch up with Boxley and see if we can be a little bit more competitive with them first. So first, that's your first task. Once you've finished Times Table Rockstars, what we're going to try and do is log onto your Purple Mash account. What we're going to do, guys, is we're going to do some work on something called simulations. So here is the word simulation. And you might have heard of this word before. So my first question is, what are they? So we're going to ask Mrs. Porter if she can just quickly pause the video while you guys have a quick chat with the person sitting next to you. What do you think they are? And feedback some ideas to Mrs. Porter. Okay, so hopefully you guys have had a few ideas and we can talk about simulation. So simulation basically means a special computer program that allows you to test things or take part in different scenarios without you actually having to do it. So computer games, in a way, are a simulation because they are trying to put you in a situation that you wouldn't normally be able to do. So, for example, a lot of you have probably taken part in some sort of a driving simulation that allows you to feel like you're driving a car without actually being in a car driving it. I remember when I was growing up, I used to play a flying simulator. So it was a simulator that allowed me to take part in a special game that allowed me to feel like I was a pilot, and I had to take the plane off, go off the runway, take off, and then fly from one destination to another without crashing. Okay, so these are different simulations. And I want to quickly share with you guys. I'll just quickly go back to, here we go, this screen here. Here's a few examples of some simulations. Okay, so we talked about a driving simulation here. Okay, one that doctors, surgeons and nurses sometimes do is a medical simulation where they have to simulate doing some sort of surgery and operation on a person. You get this one, so here's the plain one I was telling you about. Sometimes you get simulations about robots, machines and how they might work. Astronauts often train on simulations, so they often take part in different simulations that sort of copy and mimic what it's going to be like on their missions. We'll talk about a driving one down below here. And basically, like, virtual reality is a huge thing at the minute. Lots of you might even have played a virtual reality game. They are, in a way, a simulation. Now, what I want you guys to do is just think to yourself now, why do we have simulations? Why are they a good thing? So again, we'll pause the video and just have a quick chat amongst yourselves. Why do you think they're good? Why are they being used? Okay, so hopefully you've had a chat. So why are they good? Well, simulations allow you to be able to take part in something that could be very dangerous. So for example, if you were in charge of flying a rocket, if you get that wrong, you could very easily crash and hurt yourself, or even extreme cases, maybe even kill yourself or even other people. Same thing for driving a car or flying a plane. If you aren't trained properly to do it, you could put yourself and others at risk. For example, the doctors and the nurses could put their patients at risk if they do an operation wrong. So it allows people to practice skills. It allows them to train without really doing it. And if they mess up, it's not the end of the world because it's just a simulation. So it allows them to train and practice their skills over and over and over again. So when they do it for real, they've got more understanding of what they need to do. Another thing is they're good because they allow you to test and to experiment. So they allow you to test what would happen if I did this. So pilots, for example, will test and experiment. What will happen if I steered in this direction and I flew in this particular weather? Or for astronauts, it allows them to experiment. What would happen if I entered the atmosphere at this angle with my rocket? Would I bounce off the atmosphere and crash, or would I be able to enter through and land the shuttle? So they're a really good way for you to test things. Engineers and mechanics often use simulations like this car here, and they allow them to simulate what new parts of the car might do. So the new engine, for example, how would it perform? And they help them to identify things that they need to try and to improve. So those are some good things about simulations. I wonder if you guys can think of anything that's negative about simulations. Why are they sort of a negative thing? Any bad things you can think of with simulations? So again, pause the video, have a quick chat. Okay, so some problems I thought with simulations, and you might have found some different ones, but some ones that I felt were often simulations can sometimes be a little bit too simplistic. They're designed so people can access them very quickly, and sometimes they can be a little bit too simple, and they don't actually sort of realistically sort of perform the way they would. An example of this might be a driving simulator. Now, when I was your age, I used to play racing games on my PlayStation. And if I wanted to go in the car, all I had to do was press a button and the car would go. If I wanted to stop, I'd press another button and it would put brakes on. And that was pretty much it. Oh, and I had to steer with the joystick on my controller. When I actually learned to drive a car for real, I found it was actually a lot more difficult. I had some pedals that I had to work on the bottom of my car. I had the steering wheel that I had to do at the same time. I had to look around all the time to see whether I was going to be driving dangerously, if there was anybody walking around the car while I was moving it, or whether there was other cars in the way. I had to keep an eye on the speed. I had to try and make sure that I was looking around me at the signs on the road. I found it was a lot more difficult than the simple simulation that I played when I was a boy. Another problem that simulations might have is sometimes they're very expensive to run. Okay, some simulations are like a computer game. Some simulations, particularly ones for the astronauts, they actually build basically model rockets that they sit in and move around in, and they are very expensive because they want to try and make them as realistic as possible. And so they spend millions and millions of pounds to try and make them as realistic as possible. Sometimes they're very, very expensive. So what I want you guys to do for me for this first half of the lesson is this task here. So I've set this as a to-do for you, so you can find it very quickly. All I want you to do is to try and come up with a sort of a simulation fact sheet for us all to talk about what you can think of and explain simulation. So we've got a little section here for you to type in your names. You can type in your name. And then down here says, what is a simulation? So you can type in there as well what you think it is. Over here, we've got some words that can help you. So some keywords that might help you with your description. So for example, you go types of simulation, space, medical, flight simulator. Gravity is one. So sometimes scientists will build a simulation to try and work out how things will fall because of gravity pulling down on them. We've got some advantages, some good things about simulations, and also some problems. If you're really unsure about what to write, just hover your mouse over these things, and these will give you some ideas of things you could include. So you can type in the boxes your answer. And remember, if you go up to the A section at the top here, that allows you to change your font size, your font family, whether you want to make it bold or underline it. You can also highlight things as well. If you want to highlight things, here we've got some pictures. So if you click on the picture, we've got some simulations that you might want to try and include in your fact sheet. So for example, maybe I want that one, press choose, so there it is. And it says choose one of your simulations. What things could you change or test when using the simulation? So what sort of things could you change in or test out using the simulation? And it says, can you think of one or two problems when compared to real life? So you're just going to create this little simulation fact sheet for me first, all about simulations. Okay, so once you've done that first activity, we're now going to have a go at taking part in a couple of simulations. So we're going to find where you can access the simulations. And you might remember a few weeks ago, you took part in a simulation that was all about reporting. You were reporting on a tiger that had escaped from a zoo. So the program we're going to use is called To simulate. So if you just probably type in To and S, because the computer is clever, it's already found for me To simulate, which is here. So I'm going to click on To simulate. And then down here, we've got a few of our simulations. So this one, After the Storm, that's the one we did the other day, where you were journalists. So we're going to have a go at this one that's called Locked Out. It says, a lively dog causes problems for Marissa, her mum and baby brother. Can you help? So we're going to click on that. And we're going to press launch. And Mrs. Porter, it might be a good idea for you to do this with the whole class first, before everyone has a chance to play themselves. So this is a scenario that mimics real life. And the idea of this simulation is it's trying to help a family who are locked out of their house. And you're going to try and think of different ways to help them solve their problem. Okay, so we're going to try and find several situations, several solutions we can. So it says they use the arrows to navigate through the solution. So you click on the arrows. Now, I don't know whether you heard that or not, because I'm not sure if I've been sharing my sound or not, but it will read out the story for you, okay, and it will go through bit by bit what will happen in the scenario. So Marissa and her mum and baby Sam are coming home after shopping. Ringo the dog is thirsty. Everyone else is tired and hungry. Mum brings her basket and bag and money inside and goes out to get Sam and the pushchair up the steps. Marissa is fed up and cold. Ringo jumps at the door. The door is locked. So they're locked in, locked out. So here it says, what is everybody thinking? Click on the characters to find out. So you can click on the characters and it will reveal what they're thinking. So this is what Mum's thinking. Oh no, the key inside with the shopping and the door has slammed shut. Don't think Marissa is tall enough to reach the lock. And even if she is, she couldn't turn the handle. The letterbox is too high for her to reach as well. So that's what Mum's thinking. If I go back, we can also see what Marissa's thinking as well, okay? Now, if we continue on through the story, it breaks down what each character, even what the baby, might be feeling. So who can help with this problem? Select a character and find out. So we're going to try and select different characters and see if they can help with the problem, okay? So if I click, for example, on Mum, it's going to show us some options for us to try and solve a problem. It says, can you see any source of the possible help? Click to see if they can help. So here, if I move my mouse, I can click on different people and see if they can help us in the situation. So maybe this woman walking the dog can't help. Okay. Now, once you click on a person, you can find out button. Okay. Now, the find out button is split into two parts. Okay. So imagine there's a line running down the middle of this find out button. Okay. If you click on the left-hand side where it says find, it will basically tell the computer that you think yes. If you click on the right-hand side where it says out, it will tell the computer that you think no. So it says, do you have a mobile, please? My daughter is locked in the house. I may have remembered my phone or I may have forgotten it. So if you think yes, she has a phone, you click on the left-hand side. And if you think no, she hasn't got a phone, we'll click the right-hand side. So if I press the out, I'm going to say no, she's forgotten her phone. Oh dear, she forgot her phone. So we can't do that option. So we can click back. And now we're back to the original scene. I could click on these men here. Do you think I could help with my ladder? Possibly. So if I say yes, I think you maybe click on help with the ladder. I could press the left-hand side. If I think no, he's not going to be able to help, the right-hand side. You get the idea. So you can go through, there's lots and lots of different parts to this simulation, okay? So there's going to be more than one way for you to find out the solution. So what I want you guys to do for me is go through the solution and see if you can try and work out the different ways you can help in this scenario. And then that's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes, I think. Once you've finished, have a bit of a class chat and talk about what solutions you've got to that problem. So I'm just going to pause. If you just pause the video now, and then you can start, and then come back again after that. Okay, everyone. So once you've finished that first simulation, there's a second simulation that you can explore and take in. Obviously, it depends how much time you've got left. If you've got a good 25 minutes or so, you have plenty of time to explore this next scenario. So this scenario is this one down here. It's called The Dark Side of Elpmis. And so you are going to be taking part as this simulation, which is about trainee astronauts. So you're going to try and train to be an astronaut yourself, and the planet Elpmis is waiting to be explored. It's a routine training exercise. What could possibly go wrong? So if you click on this, there's two parts, part 1 and part 2. So click on part 1 and press the launch button. And you will get something like this. Okay, you might need headphones for these because it does have some very cool, funky music, and also you can hear sound effects and people talking as well. So it might be a good idea, if there are, to maybe have some headphones if you can get some. If not, it just might be a little bit noisy. So you just want to press start. And basically the idea is that you are on a mission to Elpmis, this planet, and you're on this shuttle. And you're going to be exploring this new planet. And because it's a new planet and you want to try and figure out what it is like down there, the shuttle decides to send out sort of an exploratory sort of shuttle to see what it looks like. So they send out a shuttle, and I wonder if they're going to quickly, there they go, send the shuttle out. But as you can see, you're on the ship now. Some meteors have started to descend, and they're in danger of hitting the shuttle. So down here in this cockpit, you've got some different sections on the screen that you can select if you want to try and help you decide. This is warn shuttle, make a hasty exit to save yourselves. There's a meteor shower approaching, so you've got 2 of those things. So say, for example, I want to warn the shuttle. I've sent a message to the shuttle, and they managed to just in time move out of the way, but you'll find out what happens next. You get an incoming message from the shuttle. Down here it says incoming message from the shuttle, so let's open a channel with messaging communications. So if I click on this one, it will open up a new window for you, and here I've got some emails from the shuttle commander. So if I click on that one and open it, we get an email from the shuttle commander. So it says, we managed to crash land just in time. We had to land on the dark side of the planet. The shuttle was broken up. Meteors have damaged our voice communications. No power from our solar panels. Emergency oxygen will last for 3 days. All 6 of us are alive, but 1 has broken leg and 1 is unconscious. So we're unable to leave the shuttle. Repeat, we are unable to leave the shuttle. We need your help urgently. Please send ideas of a possible solution and rescue. So what you need to do is, because you are in communication with the shuttle commander, you'll have to press reply. And then you'll have to decide how you can help. So it says, please send ideas of a possible solution. So you might need to think about working with a partner or a team, or possible ways to go down and rescue them, okay? So once you've got your idea, you can type this in, and you can then send it back to your the commander. Now, I don't really want to do too much for you, because if I do it, it might ruin the story. okay? But you can quickly go back to using maybe some different equipment for this activity. So you might want to think about using this equipment. So Mrs. Porter can say, can pause this video for you. So you've got things like you might have backup communicators that you might want to use, maybe a space blanket, so a special blanket to keep people warm. Maybe need some spare batteries for the shuttle. Maybe you need some torches for part of your expedition. Or maybe you need some matches, maybe some strong metal rods, some sort of building. Maybe you need some spare oxygen tanks to keep people alive for longer. You get the idea. So all these are different resources that you might want to try and use in help saving your astronauts. So yeah, I don't want to go too far into the story because I don't really want to give it away for you. And so have fun with that simulation as well. Okay, everybody, so I hope you have a lovely morning taking part in the simulations. I look forward to hearing from you on Wednesday what you got up to. And this afternoon, you've got fantastic forest school to look forward to as well. Remember, guys, if you have a spare moment at all, spare 10, 15 minutes, maybe at lunchtimes, I'm sure Mrs. Porter won't mind you going on some Times Table Rock Stars. I'll keep an eye on the scores while I'm working and keeping an eye on, hopefully we can close that gap with Boxley. So have a lovely day, everybody, and I'll see you on Wednesday.